Doing today,
I'm doing great, man. Can't wait to talk ball with my guy, GB.
We got a packed show for you guys today. We'll take a mid-season, three-quarter season look at Drake Maye and the progress that he has made, especially now that he has basically, 7 starts, really like 6.5 under his belt. Also, we bring in Keagan Stiefel. We're talking cornerbacks. This is a fun one. Texting Keagan last night, I'm like, do we talk edge? Pass rush sucked. Do we talk cornerbacks? Because coverage sucked. And he goes, yeah, let's go with CBs today. And we'll have multiple ways the Patriots can fill that void outside of Christian Gonzalez. Then we'll get into fixing the Pro Bowl and Jets cleaning house continually. Everyone except Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
We'll talk New York as well. But let's get into it. Drake Maye, mid-season performance. So he's played in 7 games. And obviously made his debut against the Houston Texans. Mm-hmm. And everyone was saying, well, it's going to be bad. And, well, he had flashes of this isn't going to be terrible. Counting that Jets game where he got knocked out midway through. His stats so far, just over 1,200 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Okay. 67% completion percentage with an 87.5 passer rating, while also adding 260 rushing yards on 28 carries and 1 touchdown. A rushing success rate, which means he's either converting and getting to the sticks on 3rd and 4th down or half the distance to the sticks on 1st and 2nd down.
Yeah.
64%. So that's really good for a scrambling quarterback. Trav, I think it's good we always like to do it after games, but first impressions of Drake Maye. What are you seeing from the kid through 7 NFL games?
I mean, what are we calling this? A mid-season review, right? So in a mid-season review, you kind of talk it out with the person. You and I have both been in these performance reviews where you sit down and you say, George, we really love the way you do this, and we need you to work on this. But we love it's the compliment sandwich, right? It's like they give you something good, they give you something negative in the middle, and then they end you with something good. It's all good with me, with Drake Maye. I'm having a hard time with the negative. I mean, listen, all I would tell him is that you need more experience, but he's getting that with every rep he gets as QB1 of this franchise. I look at Drake Maye as you and I have gone out together and drinks together many a times. There are nights, not with you, because when you're involved, I'm always hyped, but there are nights that I have gone out reluctantly. Mm-hmm. My boy has dragged me out. I don't want to go. My boy's like, we can't miss this event. We got to go. I end up going, kicking and screaming that I don't want to. I walk in the spot. I look around. I'm like, I don't like that person. I don't like that person. This music stinks. Why am I here? And then you know what happens, George? You take a shot of whiskey. Someone buys you a shot, and you take it begrudgingly.
Wakes you up.
And then next thing you know, you're having the time of your life. And then the drinks start flowing, and you have one of those memorable nights, and then you say eventually, I'm glad I went out. That's Drake Maye to the Patriots. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of watching Jacoby Brissett, okay? Rinse and repeat. Because Jacoby Brissett, no matter where he was, Patriots Part 1, Commanders, Dolphins, you name the teams. Wherever he was, I watched the same thing. It was Groundhog's Day. Okay, this guy's limited in what he can do. He's not terrible, but he ain't damn good either. He was limited. He was average. He was middling. He was mid. And so I was like, all right, I'm over this. Drake Maye comes in, and he was a shot of whiskey. I was dreading Patriots games. This is what we do. We got to talk about these games. I was dreading them with Jacoby Brissett in there. Drake Maye comes in, piques my interest because I wanted him sooner. He gets in, and he has been the shot of whiskey. He has resuscitated the entire franchise. The interest is up. The games are more exciting. He's balling. Is he perfect? No, but he's young. He's shown us he can play. He's shown us he belongs. He's shown us the moxie. Listen, man. Mid-season performance review, I don't know, scale of 1 to 10, he's an 8. If we're talking grades, F through A, he's a B+. I can't give him some perfect score because he's not perfect. And I think in year 4 or 5, we could see that. We could see that elevation. But right now, the only knock I have of him is his inexperience. And at the end of games, he's trying to make a play. I don't even blame him for these late interceptions. The kid's trying to make a play.
The last one was him.
I'm not saying they're the right decisions.
Yeah.
I'm saying I don't blame him.
Yeah, I don't hate. Dude, I would totally take losing a game with a Drake Maye interception over losing the game by just handing it to Ramondre Stevenson for two yards.
Now, there's a caveat there. when we have real wide receivers and weapons, and I don't know, maybe creativity in the play calling, I don't know, call me crazy. I mean, then I'll judge him a little harsher. Right now, please, throw the pick. Thanks, kid. We're trying. Yeah. I'm with it. And he can learn from these now, too. So I think he can get better late in games.
Yeah.
Drake Maye, 8 out of 10, B+ on a grading scale. I don't like everything I've seen, George. I love everything I've seen. Love it.
You don't get the full grade from me on the midterm. I'm not going to put too much weight.
That's fair.
You get the full grade for me. And what it is with Drake Maye, this is a 4-year course. And I will give him a B- right now.
B-?
Through 7 games. But you know what, Trev? You know what gets heavier weight in my grading system?
What?
Year 2 and year 3.
I think that's fair.
Because I see the flashes, and I know that this is an A+ guy. Look, he needs to clean up the turnovers. He has 4 straight games with an interception. Bears interception was bad. Just locking onto a defender, making a predetermined throw, not seeing the linebacker, and forcing a ball.
Yep.
But then he bounced back.
Yeah.
And he didn't care, and he kept making big plays and let the game come to him. Then you go to what he did against the Rams in that performance as well, where, the interception at the end, predetermined throw, him and Pop Douglas clearly not on the same timing.
Mm-hmm.
And people are ripping on Pop. He's not even looking back. If Pop Douglas is turned around and looking, that ball is incomplete at best.
Yeah.
That is likely an interception. When you're throwing to someone that is 5'8" downfield, and that gets into what you're saying about personnel. Every deep shot, right? When we're looking and we're watching the game, deep shot to Pop incomplete, and we go, why? And I go, well, they're throwing to Pop. That's not him.
That's right.
If he throws left and leads Pop, that's a big gain. And maybe we're having a different discussion after the Rams. I'm going B- because that's what we've gotten, but I know an A+ is there. And this is I'm going to be a tough grader because I know the student can be better. And I know there's more for him to do and how much better of a quarterback he can be. He's not even close to playing up to his potential. We've seen flashes of it in games. And remember, he's played 7 games. One was in relief at the end against the Jets on Thursday night. Yep. The other one was where he was knocked out midway through the second quarter against the Jets when he went to concussion protocol. His 5 full games, he's rushed, he's used his legs, he's gotten smarter, he's gotten better game by game. I'll give you my 2 favorite throws from him on the season were against the Bears. 28-yard completion to Austin Hooper, who was on a crosser where Austin Hooper is getting schemed open. Drake Maye is taking what the defense gives him, and he's fitting that ball into such a ridiculously tight window that is a 1-of-1 throw. That is a Joe Burrow, a Justin Herbert, a Patrick Mahomes
Josh Allen
throw.
Yep.
Right now, he is Justin Herbert, who is a rookie of the year. He is an NFL starting quarterback right now. Mm-hmm. And we see the potential of him to be a top 10 guy. And then the other throw, what I loved from him, again, it was to Austin Hooper. 3rd and 1. And we've seen it happen before. It was Keagan Booty I want to see going downfield, right?
Yep.
With a for love of the game route, which Drake Maye taught me about and I love. And normally we would have seen Drake Maye take Keagan Booty streaking down the left sideline. No, on 3rd and 1, an underneath route to Austin Hooper, which still got a gain of 16. And even going back to that Austin Hooper throw, the first one, the 28-yard gain. You know who had a for love of the game route on that one?
Who?
Jalen Polk.
That's right.
Busting his ass, pulling the corner with him. And what we see from Drake Maye in the processing of this play I'm talking about, he's reading the corner, and the second he sees those hips turn and go upfield, he's throwing the ball to Austin Hooper. Anticipatory throws. Getting that from a rookie now is great. And we mentioned it with a Jalen Polk, a Keagan Booty who's getting schemed open. Dealing with receivers that have dropped the ball 9 times. Just graded. To me, the drops are more in the 15 to 20 range.
Right.
He's done it with a lot of bad talent. He's done it with very inconsistent personnel on the field. And he's doing it now. We've seen this Patriots team go 12 personnel heavy, which is old school football. Normally you want 11 with 3 receivers out there. No, their best is Keagan Booty, Demario Douglas, Austin Hooper, Hunter Henry, and Ramondre Stevenson on the ground. And he's done all this without a consistent run game. He's done all this with a play caller learning the game on the fly. He's done all this.
That's being nice.
Ahead of his development, too.
Yeah.
I did his processing. I'm going to say this one more time. The throw he made to Austin Hooper against the Bears, 28-yard gain, fitting that ball in perfectly where it's literally on Austin Hooper's hands or it's out of bounds or an interception, fits it in perfectly where Hooper makes a great catch. His read on the corner, when the second the corner decides to go with Polk, he's letting that ball go. I did not expect him to be able to make that decision and process like that in year one.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Drake
right.
Maye is exceptional.
Yeah.
He's a B- through 7 games because, as we've seen, 6 interceptions, the lost fumbles, especially the strip sacks, those have been bad. But also, he does a good job in the pocket trap where the ball's up by his chest. That's where you want it. 2 hands on it. It's not getting low. He's not getting sloppy. This kid does everything right.
He does.
I am very surprised about his processing speed and his decision making. And I'm very surprised at how comfortable he looks. And let's say this, Trav. You know what, man? He is a B-, but then I assign extra credit, right?
Before should.
But before my midterm of the first semester.
You should.
Literally like college. You know what my extra credit is? Students don't know I give it out. The extra credit is earned unknowingly to who's a leader. This kid is a 10 out of 10 of being a effing leader.
So bump him up to at least a solid B.
A- because of my extra credit.
Fine. Here's where I really agree with you, and the reason why, I'm sure it's because you've indoctrinated me with all this draft talk leading up to this. But, the processing and the speed in which he's doing it at this stage is impressive because you and I talked leading up to that draft because we both assumed it would be Drake Maye here. So we were nitpicking his game. Me from a gambling standpoint, because I bet on the Tar Heels a ton when he was there. I won and lost those bets, but I watched him a lot because of that. You because you're GM George. And one of the things we both wanted to see was, we knew the footwork needed to be cleaned up. We knew the minutia, the deets of the game of playing quarterback needed to be cleaned up with him. He was very raw. And then the processing was the big question because at UNC, much like here so far in New England, he was the alpha and the omega. They didn't have a ton of weapons either. They didn't have an offensive line to speak to. He kind of had to do everything. So here it was like, all right, in the NFL, you have to process. You have to go through your reads. You got to check into protections, get out of certain plays. And he picked all of those things up. Footwork, the details of playing the position, ball placement where you're talking about in terms of protecting the football, processing defenses, calling out of plays. He's done all that much faster than we thought. That's been a big-time surprise. Yeah. I still defend him a little bit more than you do on the late-game interceptions or just interceptions or turnovers in general. But again, this kid reminds me, you say Justin Herbert, I kind of get that physically, I guess. But I see a little more Josh Allen in the kid. I'll be honest. I think he's got a gunslinger. He's got that gunslinger.
He's faster than Justin Herbert.
Yes.
But it is a physique, and it is arm talent, the accuracy.
Yeah.
And look, Josh Allen with the legs.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Josh Allen had 4 or 5 games throwing under 100 yards his rookie season.
That's right.
He had a lot of games with a completion percentage around 50%. Yeah, he was absolutely terrible.
He was raw.
But Nathan Peterman was a reason that Josh Allen had to start in year 1.
That's right.
I get it, Josh Allen with the legs, but I'm telling you, when you watch him, especially the Justin Herbert now, that has a head coach that empowers him to make ballsy and risky throws.
Yep.
Justin Herbert used to be too conservative. Now he's making those plays. And where I get the Joe Burrow, even in Drake Maye's game, is he's like a goldfish. He throws an interception and he doesn't give a damn. Mm-hmm. He'll come back and make that throw multiple times.
Yep.
And if he has 3 interceptions, he's going to bounce back, not give an F, and give you 3 touchdowns and put you back in the game.
Yeah.
That's what I see from Drake Maye. I don't think the turnovers are going to get cleaned up. I don't think that happens within this season. We're going to have to live with those. They're going to happen. Again, 6 interceptions. In 6 actual starts, 5 full games, 6 interceptions is what he's working with. If that number's up there, there's fine, man. He learns from his mistakes. He's a rookie. And remember, this is a 3-year plan for this roster, and we'll get into all that. Look, he is a franchise quarterback, and really, you need 2-3 seasons because people right now are going, is CJ Stroud that guy? Look at the drop off he had. Jordan Love, second full year as a starter. Oh, it's a lot of interceptions. We need 3 full seasons to go, okay, this guy is worthy of a next contract.
Yeah.
You can even say 4 full, but there is the foundation of what you're working with. You see it, and that's what's closer to the Justin Herberts and the Joe Burrows than is a Josh Allen, which is really a good thing for Patriots fans. That's what they need to be excited about. Trav, also, we talked about the receivers and the play calling. I would only bring back one offensive lineman as a starter from this current group up front. That's, again, what he's working with. It's absolute crap in front of him.
And well, that's where I'm at here. Look, I agree and disagree with you on a couple things. I agree with you on your window of when this team could be competitive. It feels like a 3 or 4 year. Okay, fine. Where I disagree with you, though, is sort of this evaluation process of Drake Maye. You know, we're not really going to have a full evaluation until year 3 or 4. I disagree there. I think we could have we could have a real evaluation of the kid as soon as next season. You know, if, and I know it's a big if, the Patriots do what they're supposed to do in this offseason, be it free agency and the draft. I mean, if they hit a grand slam draft class, not just a pick, a draft class, and they bring in some free agents to help this kid, I think we could evaluate him more than you think in year 2. The issue I have and why I defend him with the turnovers, it just feels like right now, Drake Maye, individual George, Drake Maye is balling out in spite of some of the things around him. Play calling, offensive line weapons, we know it. Even head coach. Whereas if he has some of those things checked off next season, I think we can evaluate him better, and I would be willing to bet the turnovers are not as much.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to grow. He came in with 26 starts in his college career. Like, this kid has, like, again, full games. Full games. He has 31 full games under his belt between college and pros. That's it, 31. He had 26 in college. But, like, there still is that room of, like,
there is.
He is good, but because he doesn't get support, he can digress and he can develop bad habits. And how do you shake them out of him? That is still a possibility. You got to be patient.
You do.
And you have to be cautious. Luckily for the Patriots, they're in a spot where they have 5 years of cost control with Drake Maye. Just pick up that 5th-year option. Don't be morons like the Maras and try to get ahead of it.
Oh, God.
Play everything into your hand.
I'll tell you this.
I like what we see from him.
I'll tell you this, George. I would go back in time now on draft night and have the same draft. I would still take Caleb. I would still take Jaden. But just like on draft night, we both said Drake's is clearly the next best quarterback in that grouping. It still feels that way. I would take him over Nix, and you know I like Nix. I'd take him over Penix, and I'd take him over McCarthy all over again. Yeah,
to your point, you even bring up Nix. Like, he's been great lately for Sean Payton. That guy threw for 300 yards, over 300 yards in their win over the Falcons. Average depth of target of 4. And 22 of his completions on the day. Of his 28 completions, less than 10 air yards.
There you go.
He is succeeding because of. Drake Maye, like you said, is succeeding in spite of.
Absolutely.
And I would go back to draft night. Drake Maye would be QB2. I had him QB2 going into it, but it was more of a developmental.
All right.
And I didn't like him landing with New England because of the surrounding cast, but I love him as a prospect. Still stands there. Hey, you want to hear all about Boston sports? Check out Nesson's Daily Sports Podcast. Boston has entered the chat. You can enter the conversation by calling the Nesson Vodcast hotline at 617-790-0928 or email the chat at Nesson.com or tweet at us, Nesson Chat. Hashtag Nesson Chat. That's Boston's Enter the Chat, available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever else you get your podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button as well. All right, let's bring them in. Fun subject. We've been doing it the last 2 weeks. Continues to be an absolute killer with the fans on YouTube. Keagan Stiefel talking NFL draft. Because the Patriots are so bad, we got to do it. Keegs, welcome back, my man.
That's right. I love talking draft with you guys. I love doing it anyway, but having a team that stinks this bad to talk about it's a blessing.
So as I said as we opened, too, I'm texting Keegan. I go, you want to talk edge? I mean, they got 6 pressures and no sacks, or we talk cornerback because it's relevant. He's like, oh, no, we're going to talk cornerbacks on this one. So here's one thing I want to set the table, guys, and this is the way I look at the Patriots cornerback room. Their biggest needs are tackle and wide receiver. Cornerback won't be resolved that early, but there could be guys out there. What I want to point out is Christian Gonzalez, 6'1", Marcus Jones, 5'8", Jonathan Jones, 5'9". And I think those last 2 heights are being generous. Shout out the Short Kings. I want you guys to point out just real quick, the top 6 cornerbacks in this draft. Travis Hunter, 6'1". Will Johnson of Michigan, 6'2". Ben Morrison of Notre Dame, 6 foot. Siobhan Ravel, 6'3". Takario Davis, 6'4". Denzel Burke, 6'1". Patrick Surtain, the best corner in football, 6'2". Sauce Gardner, 6'3". Jalen Johnson, 6 foot. Kenyon Mitchell, 6 foot. Jalen Johnson, 5'8". 5'11". There has to be a type by the Patriots. We're going to get into it. I just want to set the table of I am projecting onto you. If I hear anyone under 6 foot, he got to be a baller, but I don't want anybody that's under 6 foot. And I'm shitting on my short kings, but this is where I'm at now, man. I'm done with the undersized corners that we've seen get eaten alive week after week by these receivers and constantly picked on. The Patriots need depth in their cornerback room coming into this game. It's never been more adamant and more obvious than after what we saw, what Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp did to them.
Yo, Keegs, he's preaching, but here's the truth, right? Like, I don't even like calling him short. I like to just say vertically challenged.
Thanks, I appreciate it. That's a recovery. Appreciate you guys. Keegs, who you want to bring up? I went on my soapbox there. Sorry to steal your thunder. Are you against what I'm saying? Hey, don't get caught up in height because of these guys, or what are you thinking?
Listen, I love what you're saying about the size thing because I do think there's a big difference between a number one, top level cornerback versus a guy who can contribute in your cornerback room,
which they have with the Joneses, right?
Right.
Let's say it. Size matters. I had to. Okay, let's go.
All right. No, but these top line Q or CB1 guys, 6 foot, 6'1" and above.
Yeah.
So everybody I'm bringing to the table today, 6'1" or above.
My man.
It's time for the tall boys. So I'm going to start it off.
I like that.
Damani Jackson, cornerback out of Alabama, a guy I really like, not because of what I've seen on the field, but because of just who he is as a human being. If you know anything about this guy, legit track star. Probably could have been an Olympic sprinter if he wanted to. He's going to be close to setting the record at the combine for the 40. Legit speed. The best speed in the draft at the position. I think that's something the Patriots could use, right?
Yeah.
Jonathan Jones, he's not as fast as he used to be. He used to be that guy in your room where you want to line him up on the Tyreek Hills of the world and erase that side of the field with some safety help. Can't do that anymore. So just based off that alone, love the size and I love the background. Started out at USC. He transferred into Alabama this year. So 2 premier programs, whether or not USC's lived up to it in the last few years, that's debatable, but 2 top flight programs. And just everything that you see from this guy in terms of projectability to the next level, he's a cornerback 1, and you already have that, so he can be the guy on the other side of the field. Really help out your room a lot. And something that I wanted to get into, me and George talked about a little bit earlier, who do you have coaching these guys? And we've had that conversation with Drake Maye over and over and over again. But in the cornerback room, somebody who doesn't get enough credit for how good he's been at his job over the last decade, Mike Pellegrino, the Patriots cornerback coach.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who they bring in. He's able to get something out of them and elevate the talent that he has in the room. We've seen it with Jonathan Jones. We've seen it with Marcus Jones. Christian Gonzalez, it took him no time at all to be that guy. Would he have been that elsewhere? Probably, right? That's the level of talent he is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they've implemented these cornerbacks into this system to where that's the best part of your defense right now is your secondary when they're healthy. So Mike Pellegrino, shout out from me. And when you're talking about bringing guys in to elevate this cornerback room, you can take a risk maybe in the mid-round, late rounds on a project because you have a guy there who's going to elevate them to the next level.
Yeah, Mike Pellegrino, he's been with the Patriots staff since 2015. He's a cornerbacks coach in 2019. We've seen guys like Jack Jones be great. Now, Jack Jones was projected to be a first, second round pick, fell because of off the field stuff. But hey, stepped in, great. Marcus Jones. Working with Alex Austin as a starting corner last season, at no point was I watching the cornerback play and going, oh my God, that's terrible. What he was working with. Then you get into the J.C. Jacksons, an undrafted free agent in 2018, broke out in 2020. Again, Pellegrino got his start in 2019. Jonathan Jones, undrafted free agent, 2016, 2020 is when he came into his own. I'm with you, Keegan, and that's where I do like this room. I think they need to add a free agency. I'll get into that.
Yep.
Right.
They're not going to address cornerback until day 2 or 3, but that's when you trust the coach you have in the building. And as much as I've said and I've given DeMarcus Covington a lot of criticism, Mike Pellegrino has been phenomenal at coaching a cornerback group. So I like you point that out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's a guy who's going to continue to do that. You got to worry about him, maybe finding a job elsewhere.
Yeah. That's someone I would pay.
You got to
secondary
right.
coach.
But organizations notice stuff like this to where he might be able to move into a different spot off of cornerbacks out in another organization, get some experience, and then that's when you get to elevate into those DC roles and those head coaching roles. So
back.
It's all about opportunity for a guy like that.
Oh, yeah. So I like that you brought up your first guy, Damani Jackson with Alabama. Trav, who are you watching, man, in this draft? I know you got some names.
Well, let me first disagree with both of you because I know you're both thinking day 2, day 3 for these positions at corner. Let me say something, and I brought this up to you both before. We have to remember that this team has buku bucks to spend, A, and B, I do think this Drake Maye kid being able to play changes everything.
Yeah.
I think last offseason, players looked at New England like a wasteland. Like, I'm not going there. Are you kidding? They just ran off another quarterback. They fired the GOAT coach. Like, I'm not going there. Now, all of a sudden, you have Drake Maye who can play. You have all the money in the world. Look, I would not be shocked at all if they address the glaring weaknesses of this team by spending cash money, baby. I'm talking trenches. I'm talking an edge rusher and an offensive lineman, where maybe you could sort of change the mentality to we'll take those things on day 2 and day 3.
Yeah.
How about T. Higgins the other night in a loss on Sunday night? 9 grabs, $148, and a touchdown. Does he look like a number 1 option?
Hey, I've been
How's
banging
hell
that
to
drum.
the yeah
We'll see
sound?
if he gets tagged. We'll see what they have to give up.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's other ways to address
There
some
could
of
be.
these weaknesses. So I say all that to say I'm still living in they address those weaknesses with the money, then you could take a corner in that first round. And we both, all of us, feel as though they're going to end up in the top 10, where we'll see. But if you're top 10, I'm going right back to the well I told you at wide receiver. Travis Hunter. And just like I told you, for him to play wide receiver for the Patriots and he could play corner, you could do the reverse. You could draft him. You could have a conversation with the kid. You want to play corner? And then we'll just give you some packages at wide receiver. If he's good with that, Dion signs off of it because he's running the show, then give me Travis Hunter. That'll be my answer in this segment until the end of time, until he's a Patriot. Because guess what? Travis Hunter and Christian Gonzalez together would feed generations. Are you kidding me? I need it injected in my veins.
Keagan, you go.
Listen, I'll never, ever, for as long as we're doing this, be upset about the Patriots drafting Travis Hunter. Never, not once. If they take him with the number 1 pick, I'm going to be round of applause, well done. You
Same.
made the bold but smart decision in my eyes. So I'm all aboard the Travis Hunter train. I think we should talk about him every week. We'll talk edge rushers next week, possibly. I'll bring up Travis Hunter because he could probably do that too, right? This is a damn good football player. And that's what you should be targeting, just good football players.
Facts.
So I'm all in on the Travis Hunter train. Get him in the red, white, blue. I'm all about it.
Yep.
It's exactly if they go out, and you did say it, Trav, and that's where I agree with it. So let me not be a jerk for once.
Sure.
And go, well, they could franchise him. Let me not try to be the nerd in the room. Okay, let's say T. Higgins is a free agent. All right, you pay him. Is he a wide receiver 1 on 32 teams in the NFL? No, but he's a wide receiver 1 for you.
Hell yeah.
And guess what? When you have T. Higgins and you have a Demario Douglas and a Keyshawn Boutte is something, and you go and get a guy later in the draft, which we've done on this conversation, right? And you get in the red zone or you get on 3rd and short, money downs, you bring in Travis Hunter to run a route because his ball skills are insane. And like you say, on the other end, because this cornerback group is absolutely terrible, and your secondary has been bad outside of Christian Gonzalez. 6'1", needs to put on weight, but his IQ, his fluidity, how smooth he is with his hips, his ball hawking ability, just his ball skills in general, the way he leaps, the way he times it. And you have to talk about how damn well in shape the stamina of this kid is absolutely insane. Where he would never have to leave the field on defense. You would never have to sub him out. And him and Christian Gonzalez can play sideline to sideline. So that is something, you go in there, you better have gotten your ish done in free agency, in my opinion, though.
You have to.
Because if you drop the ball in free agency and then you draft Travis Hunter, man, I'm going to have a lot of questions for
agree.
you. I like that Travis Hunter call. First name I'm going to bring up.
Before we move on,
Yeah, go.
I want to pose this question to you guys because I think it's an interesting one. George, I'll start with you. What do you see him as? Do you see him as a cornerback who can also play wide receiver, or a wide receiver who can also play cornerback?
I see him as a wide receiver that can also play cornerback, and my thing is, I don't want him at his frame, which is slim, throwing his shoulder into grown men in the NFL, tackling and stopping the run on the edge. Now, you need him in a package. He comes in and locks down a guy. That's fine. I just project him as a wide receiver because I think that's where a team would get better long-term return. But I also am fit. And as I've said it, like Jacksonville's the number 1 overall pick. They go Travis Hunter. Awesome. You have an elite cornerback. And then you have Brian Thomas Jr., who's your wide receiver 1, and then a really, really good wide receiver 2. I don't want him playing corner, but if my biggest worry is, well, he needs to bulk up, awesome. You get him in a weight room in the NFL. And also, if you have the kid like running around less, literally on game day, not playing 1,000 snaps every Saturday or Sunday, playing less, like he will put on and retain weight and he could bulk up. And then if he's just 10 pounds, good weight. 10 pounds of good weight, and I could have a whole different tune about him playing corner. But I want him at receiver. That's just where I project him. I see Garrett Wilson. I just see Garrett Wilson, which to me is what you would want.
Keegs, I see him as prime. I actually think he's very similar to Deion Sanders. I think you put him on his side of the field. You got Christian Gonzalez on the other. I mean, you could have a modern day Legion of Boom here with the Patriots. With those two corners, you get decent safeties. I mean, my God, all of a sudden, who the hell's throwing on the Patriots besides no one? And I say prime because that's how prime could do. He could lock down a side of the field or travel with your best wide receiver. And if he got a pick, it was house call city. That's what Travis Hunter can do. And then you bring him in, packages a wide receiver like Deion used to do.
Yeah.
I would also entertain moving him to returns. I mean, I see, to answer your question, I think this is prime 2.0.
Yeah, and just to throw mine out there, I see him as a corner, and it's for two reasons. Number one, just refinement in terms of the ability to play a position. I think he's a better cornerback. He's just much more refined. I think it's what comes naturally to him. I think the receiver stuff, he still has a little bit of work on. Like, he's got the ball skills we talk about.
Yeah.
The route running's not that great, right? Like, there's a reason why he's going up over four guys to catch the ball. It's because he's not getting a ton of separation. There's a reason why he's their gadget guy, right? You're throwing him screens to get him the ball in space. So I think he's just better off as a cornerback. But like George said, in terms of the size, I think this is a guy who you'll see as he gets older. He's super young. He's still 20, right? As he gets older, he's going to be able to retain that weight, like George was talking about. He's going to get bigger. And I think it's going to be a lot easier for him when he gets a little bit bigger to just full-time cornerback. This is what I'm built to be. This is what I'm best at.
Yep.
And then you can find a role for him because it's so much harder to implement a part-time cornerback than it is a part-time wide receiver.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I think two reasons. Just what he is as a player, he's a cornerback. And then what is easier for the team to do, that's easier. Just you're our number 2 cornerback if it's in New England. And we're going to put you in packages. We're going to find ways to help you succeed. So those are the two reasons. But I think it's an interesting conversation because I see both sides.
Yeah, and it's a kid, too, of, like you said, it's a lot harder to implement that corner because there's so much that goes on with defense. Wide receiver, hey, line up here, run this route. This is where you're ending up, and the ball's going to be there. And he's playing every snap for Colorado on both sides of the ball. It's not a sophisticated offense, but the fact that he could play every snap on both sides of the ball says a lot about his football IQ, his acumen, and just, dude, how detail-oriented and locked in the kid is. You can improve the route running, and that certainly can happen.
Just think about New England, right? You saw it this week. Marcus Jones played a little bit of running back. They needed him for a snap. They threw him out there. Easy, right? Throw him in the huddle, have Drake tell him, this is what you're doing on this play. It works. Not that way defensively, right?
Yep.
Julian Edelman practiced as a cornerback for like 8 weeks before they actually let him play. Troy Brown in 2004 was practicing there in training camp because they knew, if somebody gets hurt, we're going to need an extra guy. So it takes a long time for a wide receiver to be able to go over on the other side of the ball and play defense.
That's true.
So the name I'm going to throw out here, Dalen Everett, cornerback out of Georgia, 3-year starter since he was a freshman, 14 games for a national championship Georgia team. Always one of the best defenses. 6'1", 190, 4.3 speed. Great frame. He's really good at press at the line of scrimmage. Again, starter since he was a freshman. Good tackler because you're not playing at Georgia unless you could do everything. Good feel in zone coverage. I think he has a lot to learn in man. And then here are the red flags I have for him. Stiff and pedal in transition, so he's just not the most fluid. And here's the big ones. Impatient in press, and he bites on double moves. But you know what? The last two especially, he's a good athlete. Like, I think the first one can improve. The last two, this comes back to full circle. Mike Pellegrino can coach it out of you. That's where you trust coaching. If those are my big concerns, but he checks every other box where I've seen him in coverage. He has the side. He has the speed. Obviously, he has the experience as a 3-year starter at Georgia. Georgia. As a freshman, played 14 games. I like everything about this kid. So that's where I go. There's one more. Davison Igbinison, 6'2", 195, 4.3 speed. He started at Ole Miss, now at Ohio State. So that told me he could learn 2 different systems, like your guy, Keegs, at USC first. Really fluid hips, great awareness. He's a physical press corner. But those guys, Everett and Igbinison, those guys are in the picks of early 3rd to midway to the third, I could see them being gone. And I don't know if the Patriots will be taking a corner even that early.
Hey, Keegs, what's your boy Everett? I saw you sort of perked up when he brought him up at Georgia. What's he going to do to UMass this weekend? I see.
UMass has Georgia?
Too soon?
Yeah.
Too soon?
UMass has Georgia?
They're getting paid like $3 million to go get their asses beat down in Athens. Listen, we could, if we want to go off on a UMass tangent, I've got bars ready to go.
Bro, does Victor Cruz, can Victor Cruz, does he have any more eligibility this weekend?
UMass is out here 3 points away from their best win in 5 years. They end up losing because their kicker's an idiot and missed a chip shot field goal that would have won them the game.
God.
And then you go and fire the best head coach in program history because
it's UMass.
Maybe he's a little old. The athletic director should be ashamed of himself. He made one good hire a decade ago. We'll move on. My second cornerback. Let's talk corners. That's what we're here for. Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky. And I think I came at you with the project guy in Damani Jackson. And now I'm going to come at you with the other side. This guy just knows how to play cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
Not the biggest, not the fastest, not the strongest. 6 foot, about 170. He needs to put on a little bit of weight, kind of the same size as Travis Hunter. But if you watch Kentucky, the only reason why they haven't lost every single SEC game in the last 2 years is because they have a pretty good defense. And Maxwell Hairston is the guy on the back end. 4 interceptions over the last 2 years. He had a couple pick sixes in the same game earlier this year. Just the kind of ball hawk boundary corner that you look for. Is he going to be in their range? I think that's the question. Kind of a second, third round tweener guy. Maybe he'll last a little bit because of the size. And are you going to be picking at that spot for the Patriots? Maybe not. But he's a player I really like. I think you can plug him in any system in the NFL and he'll be a quality cornerback, right? He's going to be like like a Cooper DeJean type where it didn't take him long to find his way into Philadelphia's system. So I think Hairston is a guy. I just really like him as a player. I wanted to talk about him. Whether or not the Patriots are going to draft him, I don't know. A name to keep an eye on because if they do take care of business in free agency and they are looking for, let's beef up the back end of the defense in the third round, that might be a guy that they have their eyes on.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. It's, again, guys in the SEC, guys that we're pointing out. And these are just, this is something I need to address. The one thing I'm going to end this on really quick. Oh, yeah, by the way, Davison Igbenison, he's from Union, New Jersey, so you know you're getting a dog with him. Look, what I'm going to say, too, on this one, especially with the guys we have named, if they're developmental, this is something where the Patriots can use free agency and the big spending to their advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
They need a corner. Charvarius Ward is 28 years old, 6'1", likely to hit free agency going out of the 49ers. He's coming off a down year, but if he could be a stopgap veteran that you sign at that size while you have to bake these corners, but also they're going to play a lot of snaps, but they don't have to be that number 2 right away, that's what can help. And along with, sticking with the 49ers here, a Talanoa Hufanga, 25 years old, has only played 12 games the last 2 years because of injuries. They have absolutely ruined him. But if you could get him on a prove-it deal with a safety that could split coverage for you, play that center field position, and you only have $7 million tied up with Jabril Peppers next season. We'll see what happens with him down the line. You could get a Hufanga on a prove-it deal. You could get a Ward on a vet deal. And you can address a big need at safety, a big need at corner too, and you can still draft a guy later on in the draft that could solve a lot of needs you have right now. So it's free agency, then draft. That's what's big on this corner conversation, where I love the conversation of Travis Hunter early. I love the big guy, Will Johnson, out of Michigan. He's Pat Surtain 2.0 in my opinion. But if they go late in the round, again, this is where the Patriots have to hit so many spots. They need to take care of free agency, and they can't whiff. And in a free agency class that looks like really weak for tackles, has the guys at receiver, like you point out, a T. Higgins, Trev, but then also good at corner and in secondary where they have their needs. I think that's where they end up going secondary, and we see draft with tackle and receiver. That I see the long-term shaking out.
I see the vision, dog.
We got to all have the vision at some point, so.
It's a really tough, this is just what the Patriots are, right? You can look at every position. That's why we're doing this, because we're going to go down the line, every position in the draft, and you're going to be like, they need that. They need an upgrade there other than quarterback. So
literally everywhere but quarterback.
You can go any, 40 different ways, because they could draft a corner on day 1, day 2, day 3. Same thing with wide receivers. Same thing with offensive line. Same thing with edge. So we're going to be talking about guys throughout the rest of the season and then the offseason leading up to the draft that I think people will just in the front of their mind think, well, he's a second round pick. That's not what they're going to be targeting in the second round. But think of free agency. Think of what they'll be doing before the draft actually gets there and how things are going to unfold. Where we sit right now on November 20th, 2024 is not where we're going to be sitting in April when they're getting ready for the draft. So
that's what makes it fun.
The reason we're talking about guys from the 1st to the 7th round across all the positions is because we have no idea where they're going to be in April. That's what's fun about it. Like you said.
It's looking ahead. What are the free agents like? Because if we go, they'll just, sign a tackle like Tyron Smith at 33 years old. That's not going to do it. The only positions I can say they're fine, quarterback.
Yeah.
Right.
Punter.
Yeah.
Kicker.
Yeah.
And defensive tackle, but they still need depth behind Christian Barmore as well. He's Keagan Stiefel of Nesson.com. Keeks, always appreciate taking the time. Good luck to your Minutemen, man. I did not know Georgia had UMass.
I'm laying the 38.5, whatever it is. I'm gonna do it too. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna tell you on that. If you're enjoying Patriots Draft Talk, we do this every Wednesday with Keagan. You can catch Foxborough Rush every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On Fridays, we have Michael Lombardi join the show. Available on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you get your podcast as well. All right, so we went into the minutia. Trav, also, I would like to apologize one more time, man. I need to be a good friend.
What?
And not try to be like well, you know what? If T. Higgins gets franchised,
according to my calculations,
they gotta give up 2 first-round picks.
Right.
I need to let go a little, so I'm gonna do that. But that's what we're gonna do with this segment. We're gonna fix the Pro Bowl.
Oh God.
Let's go quick on this, but
gladly.
Pro Bowl games are set to return. Peyton Manning and Eli Manning will be coaches for the AFC and NFC, which I love.
Oh,
it'll be in Orlando.
All right.
But if you think about it, the Pro Bowl, it used to be a thing, man. Like the Sean Taylor days of going all the way, holy cow, But now it's I don't care. I don't tune in. If you were to fix a Pro Bowl, how would you do it? Would it be flag football? Would there be incentives? Would you move it up a week back between, the championship games and the Super Bowl? Would you kill it all together? What would you do with the Pro Bowl, my man?
You just made me laugh so hard. Well, Peyton and Eli are the coaches.
They have all the challenges, precision passing.
I like that.
Kick-tack-toe.
Oh, my God. The Mannings and their challenges and their Manning cast and all the commercials. A lot of C words, right? So here's what I do with the Pro Bowl to fix it. Cancel it. How's that for a C word? Cancel it. Dead it. It's over. Finito. I haven't cared about the Pro Bowl since I was a kid, and I feel like a lot of people feel like me. I think it's a kid thing.
That's a long time.
So you know what? Right. But guess what? It hasn't got good sense. So here's what you do. You make it for the kids. You have the skills competitions. That's cool. That's fine. Run through a hoop, throw through a hoop, kick through this hoop, whatever. You do that. You give out awards or some money to these guys for being Pro Bowlers or being All-Stars, and then you move on. You don't need to play the game. I mean, we talk about player safety all the time. The NFL has a perfect out here. The ratings suck. No one cares. There's no interest.
Yep.
And you know what? We care about player safety, even though Tua's back every week after a concussion. But we care about player safety. So you gotten out. We're getting rid of the damn Pro Bowl. It doesn't work. We're going to do a skills comp. We're going to have fun. Do something for the kids. I don't know. And then that's that. And no one will lose any sleep. That's how you fix it. I don't need any more Mannings. Thanks.
I'm with you on the NFLPA. When they're up for their next CBA, they need to meet and go, we're getting rid of the Pro Bowl and keep everything close to the vest, right? Well, what are you going to do instead? We just don't want to do it. Just get rid of it. No one wants it.
Kill it.
All right. Then they turn around and they go to their biggest names because that's what the Pro Bowl is. Mm-hmm. And you get modern. You collab with a Kai Cenat.
Oh, God.
Speed. Who's a guy, Jesus. I don't know, he dresses up. He's the big kicker. You do this. You get linked up with the Logan and Jake Paul. You do your own thing on YouTube. No, dude, I don't care for the Pro Bowl, but I'm coming with the solution for the players. Jesus. You're going to get paid because that does numbers. You're going to get crazy exposure. It gets you with the younger audience. And guess what? Most important, again, you get paid more than if you win a Pro Bowl game and you get $50,000, which I think is what the winning team gets, 50, 60 each. Some guys need it. Most guys don't. Take it into their own hands. But you and I are both saying, just get rid of the Pro Bowl. No one cares.
Like I said, I'm sick of the Mannings. I don't need any more Kai Cenat or Speed.
But Trav, guess what? You don't have to watch it. But you don't have to watch it.
Yeah, kill it. Just kill it.
They get money and you don't have to watch it.
Kill it.
Okay. NBA season is here, and the big question is, will the Celtics repeat and claim banner 19? You can find everything about the NBA and its culture on Nesson's basketball podcast, Hold My Banner. Available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever else podcasts are found. If you're watching on Nesson's YouTube page, hit the subscribe button.
Why'd you go country?
Hold My Banner. By golly.
I think it's because you were thinking, hold my beer.
Yeah, would you look who it is? If it isn't Travis Thomas. Hold my beer, Trav, and get over here.
I'll be damned.
Hold my banner. All right, the Jets. The Jets are the Jets.
The Jets are the jetting.
Look at us.
Jetting.
Look at us, Trav. I wish I had a bottle of wine to open and give to you right now.
I do too.
The Jets are the Jets. They fired Robert Saleh. Defense got worse.
Yeah.
They now fired GM Joe Douglas to begin a search immediately.
Damn.
And guess what? He had 6 weeks left on his contract.
Yeah.
He was a free agent after this season.
Yeah.
And this is what losing franchises, awful owners do when you have a GM that has hit on a lot of drafts. Like this guy, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson. Yes, he had 3 first-round picks. He hit on them. You know, he also got a Braylon Allen, a Breece Hall, a Will McDonald.
Did some good things.
A lot. He did a lot. And certainly what he did with this roster now. Fixing the O-line, but they were old. But when you give your team to a 41-year-old washed-up quarterback that makes you get Tim Boyle as a backup, Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard as your receivers, this is what happens. So Jets are the Jets, man. Even like trading for Devontae Adams, like, cool, you still can't block.
Right.
And you still can't coach.
Right.
Good for Joe Douglas. In my opinion, right move by the Jets. Fire him. Start your search now. Don't go behind his back. Good for Joe Douglas. He's a good GM. He will land on his feet. As we cover a team that could use a GM.
Yeah,
that
no
out there.
Kidding.
Hey, now.
What do you think? A little Joe Douglas and a little Kevin Stefanski as a coach? Could you get behind that?
You have to pay Joe Douglas. Kevin
Could you get
Stefanski
behind
will
that?
be getting paid by the Browns, though.
Could you get behind that?
Oh, yeah.
I could
1,000%.
too.
Kevin,
You know,
no, because you're stuck with your offensive coordinator. He's done a good job developing the quarterback. Alex Van
they're
Pelt.
safe, remember?
Alex Van Pelt should have been a QB coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
the coaching staff's safe, so we're wasting our breath.
Yeah, we'll see.
Look, I wasn't shocked by this. You got to blame somebody. All the heads should roll there, including Aaron Rodgers. I mean, when this season's over, just rebuild, would you? They should have rebuilt anyway. Look, we got the Zach Wilson pick wrong. We whiffed. It happens. We're the Jets. There's a history of that. We're going to keep on swinging, baby. And you just keep drafting quarterbacks and ruining them until you get one right, and then you figure it out. The Aaron Rodgers project was a mistake from the beginning. I knew it then. A lot of people didn't listen to me. That's fine, but I tell you one damn thing. Yep, it's you people. I tell you one damn thing. I'm taking the ultimate victory lap because now it is clear. Coaches are getting fired. GMs are getting fired. Aaron Rodgers is next. You got to rebuild. I don't know Devontae Adams' contract situation, but if he's under contract, trade his ass again and get something back. Get Rodgers out of there. Just rebuild for the love of all things holy. You do have some pieces on defense. So you're not starting from scratch. We've literally seen the cupboard bare for the Jets. That's not the case right now. Just rebuild your offense. Move on. It's time to move on there. Rebuild.
Yeah, you got to blow it all up. You got to find a way to get out of that quarterback.
You have to.
That's what it is. Look, Joe Douglas did a good job, but these are the Jets. That's Woody Johnson. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So he's going to land with the team that needs him. He's a good GM. He's drafted well. The one thing I give is he picked Mekhi Becton over Tristan Wirfs. But again, the Breece Halls, the Braylon Allens, right? The Garrett Wilsons. Like he's made the right pick a lot more times than he hasn't. The one I'll give him, the whole Hassan Reddick situation,
that was
complete miscalculation.
It was.
And that's the stuff that could get GMs fired.
Yeah.
But then you think of the stable franchises like the San Francisco 49ers and everything San Francisco gave up for Trey Lance. And he was a complete bust. But when you have all pros in pretty much every room, Ofunga, Warner,
it helps, doesn't it?
Bosa,
You can recover.
Williams,
You can pivot very quickly.
trade for CMC.
Yep.
Debo, Ayuk, when healthy. Jawan Jennings, as we're seeing now. Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Again, GMs will miss on picks, but how do they recover? And they did that.
Right.
So I like it. I just want to visit this one more time, Trav. I just want to bring this up. This is something that I've been sitting on. Hit me this morning when I'm driving back from my haircut. Shout out my boy Drew for the fade.
Yeah, it looks great.
He's awesome. Joe Douglas is out there.
Okay.
There could be a really good offensive coordinator out there for the Patriots. And I just want to look at a quick sample size on why I'm still critical on Alex Van Pelt. And this goes back to when he was hired as the offensive coordinator.
Okay.
The throw that Drake Maye had against the Bears.
Yeah.
Reading a corner, second he decides to go with Jalen Polk. Drake Maye puts that ball on the dot to Austin Hooper, who makes a ridiculous
Yes,
catch.
he did.
That's what you have. Your best player is Drake Maye. Now let's fast forward. It's 4th and goal. LA's 2.
Right.
And you decide to line up and kick a field goal. And you get a false start penalty that brings you back. Kick the field goal. Now it's 21-13. Then all of a sudden, when it's 28-13, you have that play in your back pocket of Adarian Lowe, tackle eligible, gets a touchdown. Alex Van Pelt, what are you doing? Because when it's 1st and goal and you're on LA's doorstep, incomplete pass, run stuff. You took the ball out of your best player's hand and you kicked a field goal. And you saved an absolute money play for a situation you may have never gotten to.
Yeah.
You need to be aggressive. You need to be smart. You need to know your personnel. For Alex Van Pelt, stick with Drake Maye. Put the ball in your best player's hand because that kid has checked every box. And I just keep going back to, it's not the field goal and choosing to punt instead of kick it 54-yard. It's not that to me. It is, again, 1st and goal on LA's doorstep, incomplete pass, run. You're lined up for a field goal. Guess what? False start pushes you back. It's 4th and 7 now, and you do that.
Sure.
You took the ball out of your best player's hand, but then you put it back later in the game. Just be smart, be aware. Don't save those Adarian Lowe touchdowns for later in the game. And these are the issues the Patriots have to address when they look down the road with what they're working with.
I think that's fair. Listen, I'm open to a new GM and offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I'll raise you an entire coaching staff to go with it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Man, and there could be a lot of good coaches out there as well. He's Travis Thomas. I'm George Balekji. Shout out Keagan Stiefel hopping on the show. Shout out you guys leaving comments on our YouTube page. My boy Drip Saw Killa. I just want to give him a shout at the end. You left a good comment. My bad I didn't get to read it. Leave another. Tell us what you think of the corners. Give us some edge players to talk about. That's what I want you guys to do. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Chat. Draft Talk every week. Michael Lombardi every Friday. Have a good one, everyone.